touched on some of the great stuff that she's been doing. So Jenny, what was it like to be a part of this film?
It was a wonderful experience. I'm grateful that you invited me to be a part of it. I'm always excited to be able to highlight the people we serve in a way that's real and true and honest. And I felt like in this documentary, you were able to capture the feeling and the people in such an authentic way. So it was a wonderful experience for me.
Awesome. Yeah, we actually bumped into each other kind of serendipitously.
Yeah.
On a shoot, a podcast for one of the producers of The View. And you were the guest, and I was like, oh, I gotta talk to her.
Yeah.
Because, I was like, she'd fit right perfectly in the film. And then then we started following you around. And so tell me a little bit about how you got how you started Project Kind, or before that, what led up to all that?
Yeah, so starting Project Kind was a very organic process, I have to say. When I first started, was really just an outreach I was doing with my daughters because I wanted them to really understand what it meant to live out love with actions. So we started going to Penn Station, where I knew people were experiencing homelessness, and just sharing a meal with them. Not just giving them a sandwich and having them walk away, but actually sitting with them and eating this meal and getting to know them and letting them get to know us. And then I started to share the needs and my experience on social media and ask people to join us. And they did. And before I knew it, it kind of all snowballed, and it got some attention and lots of in-kind donations and monetary donations, and we became a nonprofit.
And like, where did you first go? And what was that like when you first started doing it?
Yeah, so at the beginning, my girls, my family, when we got together, we're like, okay, it's really important that we share what we have with others, to really kind of think about what we're grateful for, what do we need, but then what are we able to do without? So I knew there were people experiencing homelessness in Newark. And I figured with my girls, if we would just go to Penn Station and maybe kind of just spend our lunchtime there, sitting on the benches, and bringing extra sandwiches, maybe hats, gloves if it was cold out, and let's just see what happens, And the people around us, we were like, come join us. And they did. And again, not only was it about bringing that food to them, but it was, what's your name? Where are you from? Who are you? And allowing them also to ask us the same questions, and then just sharing that whole interaction, and then going back, on a regular basis. So that's kind of how it all started. So Penn Station, Newark, that's where we started.
And what did you do before that?
So before that, my husband and I decided, again, it was good to share what you have, and we were trying to figure out ways to do that and live out love, and we did that through taking in foster children. So in the beginning, we were sharing our home, our family, and love with kids we knew needed it, and we took in over about 12 years, we took in 15 foster children, and then we ended up adopting a child who was severely autistic. So he was, little at the time. And we learned so much from doing that, from each child that came in. We learned a lot about love and, what people really need, and how to see through the challenges, that someone's facing, and focus on who they really are. So at some point, my family all sat down to kind of think about all we had been through over those years, and how can we take what we learned in our home and apply it outside in the community?
And so we got a question here. When did you start going to New York Penn Station with your daughters with those meals? And how long have you been doing this?
So we started doing that. It's been about 14 years ago, is when we started. So my girls were young. They're 22 and 20 now. So they were like 6 and 8 years old when we started going. I actually remember our first outreach. We did a little video in the car and afterwards, and Lily was so excited. And I believe she talks about how we served, 4 people that day. And when I think back to that first outreach, it's just incredible to me what happened, moving forward, because we've now served thousands of people. So it's been an incredible journey for us.
And how many people do you think you serve in a year?
So in kind, food, clothing, toiletries, things like that. We've served up to 100,000 people in a year. Yeah.
That's amazing. And one thing I noticed, while we were filming, that when you come around, and you're with the people who are experiencing homelessness, they really brighten up, and and they I think they feel unseen most of the time. That's
Yeah.
my perception. I'm not 100% on that. And
Mhm.
then when you come around and with what you give, I mean, you really, it's like a calming. You have a very
Mhm.
calming presence. And what was really interesting. So when we were editing the film, we showed what happened on January 6th, and it was a very violent part of the film.
Mhm.
And we tried all different ways to come off of that. And the only way we could come off that worked, we tried many different ways, was that we go to your story,
Oh,
because I feel like the love from your story was the only thing that could counteract
wow.
all the violence and hate from the previous. And I know, because we were banging our heads against the wall trying to figure out how to come down off that without when we use other characters in the film, it kind of tainted them.
Mhm.
It's really interesting.
But
And then with you, your story just washed it away.
oh, you never told me that. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. That makes me feel very good. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was wild.
Wow.
Um, and then so where do you see Project Kind going now? Like, what is
Mhm.
your ultimate kind of dream for it?
Yeah. So with Project Kind, my hope has always been that we could create these opportunities for people to share what they have with people who are in need. Um, and to present the needs in a way where people really feel the need, feel their give, and see the person. Because what you said is so true. Um, when you're experiencing homelessness, from what people have told me, they do feel invisible. And to be seen is the most empowering thing. And it's also kind of reminds them of who they really are, and it gives them hope. So, I mean, I always want more for Project Kind, but the first thing I want is to at least be able to maintain what we have done, right? Which is create these opportunities, create content that is real and true and inspires people to think about all that they have, feel grateful for it, keep what they need, but then kind of think, okay, what do I have more than I need of? And then take a look around you and find someone to share that with. So whether that be through Project Kind or just on their own, because Project Kind is a call to humanity. We don't focus on government funding because I've found that to be restricting, and there are enough nonprofits that are taking that money and doing what they're going to do with it. So our call is to communities, to humanity, to say, hey, let's come together, let's share what we have, and let's be a part of each other's journeys. So I'd like to just be able to do more of that, reach more people.
Sure. And how would someone get a hold of you or donate or give money or things?
Yeah, so Project Kind has well, you can donate always in kind or monetary. We have a website which is Project Kind cares.com. We have ways to give, Zelle, Venmo, Cash App, all that. We also have a kindness closet, and that's our space where people can share items that they have, and then it's open to the community and people can take what they need. And then also, if you want to sponsor a program, we have our Homeless to Housed program, where we're helping people journey from homelessness to housed and get off the streets or avoid eviction, so avoid homelessness. And then we have our mobile street outreach, where we're always looking for sponsors for that as well.
Awesome. And one thing that a couple things that I didn't know when we started making this film, and we started making this film really, it's going on 4 years ago. We had our theatrical launch in June. Now it's December 2023. But some of the most shocking things that I learned were 1 in 4 children are born into poverty in the United States, the richest country in the world. 50% of all children will spend at least 1 year in poverty when they as they're growing up during their childhood, and how much that affects them throughout their lives. And for every $1 we spend on early childhood intervention, we save $11. So return on investment of 11 times. And then the homeless stat that really always sticks with me is every $100 increase in the median rent in a location, homelessness goes up 10%. So we don't have affordable housing in this country anymore. And unless you're very, very rich, that, right? Because your kids can't afford, so it's it's a crazy thing. But I think your method of just helping, is a great thing, that we don't have to solve, as these are your words, we don't have to solve the whole thing, because it's almost insurmountable, how much needs to be changed, but we can do what we can do, and we can do it now. And I just gave a talk a couple days ago, and it's not about getting, right? It's not about getting things or getting obviously money helps you achieve things, but the new car, the new house, the new toaster, the new doesn't make you happy.
No, it doesn't.
And I found that giving and community contribution connection are the keys to happiness. And
absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about what you think about that.
No, like you were saying, we definitely don't have to know the answer to the problem to be a part of the solution, right? We just need to do the best we can with what we have, and really just love one another. And I think a lot of the times the needs seem so overwhelming that people kind of just want to look away from it because they don't know where to start. And I really want people to understand that, for Project Kind, we love, obviously, when we get enough, maybe money, let's say, to actually get somebody from homelessness to house and pay a few months rent for them, get them off the street. But also, I want people to understand that that sandwich, even one sandwich, that means a lot too. So if you're a family and you don't have a lot, but you can sit down, a half hour once a week with your kids and make some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and then go and give it to somebody, that matters too. It's like every little bit counts, because when you put it all together, there's just something magical in that. And that, it might sound really almost too simple, but kindness is very powerful. It will put a spark in somebody, in an instant. So it's about the person receiving that's in need, but the giver, there is so much there. That's just a beautiful thing that, and you feel it instantly, right? Whenever you go and give and help somebody, like there's just this feeling you get, like you've made a difference. I mean, what's better than that? So, yeah, I mean, I'm very grateful. I get to see multiple acts of kindness every single day lived out, and it's very inspiring to me.
No, that's amazing. And how do you think it affected your daughters, from that young age? Like what do they
Yeah.
say about,
So, my girls grew up with foster kids, right? And we weren't just a foster home, we were a therapeutic foster home. So we took in kids that were considered extremely difficult to place, like coming out of group homes, things like that. So they understood what it meant to share, share what they had. And so, I mean, again, they're adults now. So my one daughter is in the master's program for social work. And so, yeah, so she kind of is wanting to move forward, with helping others. And my other daughter is not, she's going into publishing, but I mean, they're very loving, understanding, and open children. They're
yeah,
wonderful.
no, that's amazing.
Mm.
And have you seen a rise in homelessness? And
Yeah.
what do you think? Yep.
So through COVID, I saw a rise just overall. I mean, it wasn't just with homelessness, it was people who were facing this financial hardship for the first time. I mean, we got more calls than ever during that time. And now, I mean, I'm still seeing an increase in needs, whether they're housed or not housed. I mean,
Right.
the number of people that reach out to me daily has definitely increased.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, and needs, whether it's food insecurities, that's huge. And then housing, people behind on their rent or things like that.
Yeah, and I think well, I mean, from talking with Dr. Gary Evans, who kind of specializes in childhood poverty and its effects, that it's really or I should ask you this: is it really stressful on the families? When
Oh,
they're teetering, and and I think if they actually do fall out of having housing, um, it like it affects their mental health.
absolutely.
It's like if you don't have mental health issues before, you're
Hmm.
probably going to have them because of.
Oh yeah.
losing your house.
Anxiety, depression, not having your basic needs met is a stressful thing. But then if you have children and a family and you're not able to meet their basic needs, it definitely takes a toll on you, and then it takes a toll on the children. And you know what I've seen more of are families living in their cars. I see a lot of that now. Um, in the past, here and there, I would go and get a call in the middle of the night and go and meet somebody, and they're in their car with their baby. But now it's more of a regular thing, and it's whole families, mom, dad, baby, children. Um, yeah, it's really hard to get out of that situation once you're in it. Very hard.
Yeah, like with Anna, she was in the film
Mhm.
with her kids. She was stuck in a in a very bad housing situation, and people are like, "Oh, why don't they? She should just move." And it's like, well, to move, you have to have first, last, and security.
Yep.
You got to have X amount in the bank,
Yep. Good credit.
qualify. You have good credit,
Hmm.
and then you have to pay for the movers. So
Yeah.
you're talking about on the low end, 3, 4, $5,000,
Absolutely.
when the majority of the people in the United States,
Don't.
or yeah, they have $500.
Correct.
Uh,
Right.
yeah,
And that's why with the home art program, with the from homelessness to house, those are the situations where we try to raise enough money to cover all of those things, just to get that person a restart,
yeah,
because it's
and,
hard.
yeah. And I mean, we've set up these systems. One of the things that just blows me away, and actually blows a lot of very conservative people who watch the film away, is that 45% of all adults 18 to 65 make a median income of $10.35 an hour.
Um,
It's like, how do you even put gas in the car to get to work?
right.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like anything that goes wrong. And one thing I noticed driving around the country, because we drove, so we filmed in 23 states, and we drove 33,000 miles back and forth, because we go back to the people, right? We shoot and then we go back, and because as things changed, and what we noticed while we're driving, um, you just see in the poorer states that there would just be cars just on the side of the highway every couple of miles. And in the
Mhm.
beginning, I was like, what's going on with this? It's so weird. And then I realized that person, that car broke down, and they didn't have any money to tow it,
Mhm.
and they didn't have any money to deal with that situation. And there, that
And
car's
that's where the
laid,
big.
and that's it. And then they lose their job, they lose their
Yeah.
place to live, and it's just a spiral.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, some of the things that I've seen that didn't make the cut for this film, you
Hmm.
know, it's neighborhoods in Mississippi where, I was with Habitat for Humanity down there, in the Delta area, and Mississippi Delta, and uh, the guy who's like in charge of the building, um, said to me, "Oh, do you notice something, Sean?" It was just past dusk, and I was looking around. I was like, "Yeah, it's really dark in this neighborhood." And he goes, "Yeah, almost no one has electricity, and
Wow.
most people don't have running water. And
Oh.
it's not because the electricity is in the pole, and the water is in the, is there, but they can't afford it."
Wow.
Yeah, and then when we're in Florida, people living in like these really bad um motels,
Hmm.
and without running water in some cases, um and they would use the pool water to flush the toilets. I mean, it was just like horrific,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
like people living in, 4 kids, and the parents living in a hotel room with a hot plate.
Right. Oh yeah. I see a lot of that. A lot of people living in motels. Yeah. Yeah.
And tell me about, and this is what shocked me when you told me this.
What's up?
How many of the homeless people work?
Oh my goodness. A lot of them work. I would say probably from who I serve, I mean, at least 50% are working. Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's hard for them, it's really hard if you think about it. I mean, you're sleeping on a sidewalk in all the elements, freezing cold some nights, being rained on, trying to get ready in the morning in some public bathroom. Um, and it's yeah, but they're trying, you know?
yeah. No, and I think that is something people don't understand.
Right.
I mean, there's been this vilification
Hmm.
of people who are struggling with housing,
Yep.
and the reality is the system has been set up,
Yeah.
that make it harder and harder and harder for people to survive. And I just was reading 2 days ago, I think, um, Jeff Bezos, and so is BlackRock, and so are other. They're buying up all the starter homes throughout the country. So the new family is being outbid by these billionaires
Horrible.
for these little homes. So they
Yeah.
never get that starter home. Then they'll
Mhm.
have to pay rent that's more than the mortgage.
Right.
You know, it's unbelievable.
It's a horrible thing. And then also
Yeah,
all the abandoned houses, abandoned buildings that are just sitting there.
yeah,
There are more abandoned homes than there are people experiencing homelessness. So, you know,
yeah.
something's not right there.
Or they're hoarded homes. So a
Hmm.
lot of times, and kind of in the film the next film I'm working on, uh, and there's this guy Frank Vogel who wrote the book. He's the head of Transparency International, where they expose corruption all over. And basically, the book's called Enablers, The Enablers.
Hmm.
And it's lawyers and accountants and real estate agents and art dealers. And they go and they buy up all the real estate in the big cities, in London, New York, Miami, LA,
Hmm.
Seattle, and no one lives in
And
them. No one lives in them. They're basically just stealing from their governments and using it. These shell companies to take up, and then that just raises all the housing costs and makes it
right,
much. Yeah.
right, right.
Um. But yeah, I mean, to when you told me that how many people work full
Hmm.
time,
Hmm.
and like they live in their tents, they got to break their tent down.
Hmm.
They go into Penn Station, Newark, and kind
Hmm.
of rinse in the sink,
Correct.
and then go to work.
Yeah, and then they have to find a spot for their belongings, and usually they're either thrown away or maybe they're stolen or ruined, and which is another reason why the items that we're giving out, there's just a constant need for them because where do you put them? It's not like there's lockers where you can, put your belongings. And then they have to get to work, and most of them haven't had a good night's sleep. It's hard to sleep. You're worried about your safety, you're not comfortable, all of those things.
Yeah. Um. And I see on your social media you have a lot of really cool stories. Um. You know about helping people, and really some of them are very emotional. And so, how could someone follow you on your social media?
Yeah, so the Instagram is Project Kind Cares. So they can go there and follow. And I honestly use Instagram the most. That's really where I share most of my content. I have TikTok, which is Jenny DePaul, Facebook, Project Kind Cares, and then there's the website.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And So, so what do you need? Like, if someone's watching this right now, what are the
Um,
things that you need? What the, money, sponsorship, what?
yeah, I mean, I definitely the in-kind donations always needed. They seem to be the easiest to get, right? So those things are always coming and I need them very much. But then monetary donations also needed. Because if I have 1,000 sandwiches delivered to me and I need to be able to get to where they need to go and deliver them. Um, and all the other things we're doing, getting people out of, from homeless to house that costs money. So definitely need sponsorships coming in. That's a huge need. And the bigger donations, obviously, and then also smaller gives, maybe monthly gives. I always say if I could get enough people to even just give a little bit each month, you put that together and that's a whole lot of love we can go out and share and deliver with that
And
gift.
I know in the past, people have donated like minivans to you and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Toyota originally had given us a van. We put 300,000 miles on that van, all delivering the goods and the love that people gave to us. And that van is now seen its last day. So we are in need of another Project Kind mobile, which is also a good opportunity if someone wants to sponsor in that way.
And other opportunities for corporate sponsorship?
Yes. Oh yeah. Corporate
Awesome.
sponsorship. For our, in order to keep the doors open, we need sponsors. So we can continue feeding, clothing, housing people, helping people avoid homelessness also. And also sharing these stories and this content, and raising awareness. Um, yeah, definitely.
And yeah, tell me a little bit about the New York Giants and
Oh,
how
yeah.
they help you.
So the New York Giants have been amazing. I met them years ago. They actually came to the media event, I guess, that Toyota put together when they were presenting us with the van. They invited some of the Giants players there, and during that event, I invited the two players to come sit inside of the van and meet some of the people we had been serving, some of our friends. So one by one, our friends would come in the van, kind of talk to the players, share their stories. And the next day, I got a call from the Giants saying our players were so touched and they just felt like this outreach there was something different about it than other things they had done before. And they want to be more involved. So one of those players came on the board. Both of the players would come and sit under bridges with me and feed people who we were serving, and they were a huge part of Project Kind. And eventually, Ethan, who's the director of the community, I guess, development there at the Giants, he and I sat down and we came up with this idea to have this annual event called the Worthy of Love event. And we've been doing that. So we will bring about 120 people experiencing homelessness to the stadium, and the players are there. We have service providers, so they can link to services, but also spa treatments, manicure, pedicure. They use the Giants locker rooms, all that stuff. Speakers. So it's just a great day for the community to come together and celebrate each other. So the Giants have been wonderful to us. They also do a monetary donation, sponsorship. So we love them.
Right.
Yeah, our hope is to
And
we're hoping to spread, to go to get that event with other teams. We're talking to a few other teams right now, actually. So hoping to have that in other cities.
right. And I don't want people to think, well, she's got the Giants, so she doesn't need anything else.
Oh
The
no.
the need is very great. I know. And you could probably use any and all donations, even big ones, pretty rapidly.
Immediately. Yeah. The need, I can't, the needs are not only are they never ending, but they are growing, it's just, so, um, and we can have a huge impact if, you know, if, if, um, if we all come together and, um, yeah, sponsorships are needed.
And I want to touch a little bit because everyone's in the film. Everyone's really touched by Christina
Mm,
and
yeah.
heard her story, and I think we can all, at least in some way, a little way or a lot. And actually, I gave a talk after showing this at the local 3 um uh local 3 apprentices at their school in Manhattan and at SUNY, and afterwards one of the women came up to me, young woman who has kids. She's an apprentice in local 3 now, but during COVID she was being evicted, and it was right, she got evicted right before they put in that temporary hold.
Mhm.
um and she said this is the only time she's ever felt seen, that
Oh,
her story has been told.
wow.
Yeah, but yeah, tell me a little bit about how because we found Christina through you. Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about how you found her.
Yeah. So, I believe Christina heard about Project Kind and reached out to me and kind of shared her situation and said that she was really in need and she wasn't getting anywhere with other nonprofits. Like she just couldn't seem to get the help she needed. And somebody referred her to Project Kind. And um, at that time, I was talking to this group of women who were doing this like women's summit kind of like Zoom presentation or something like that. And they asked me if I would speak on it. So I said, sure. And then I asked them, could we kind of make it a fundraiser? Can we share some people's stories on here and see if we can use your platform and get people to give? So Christina was one of the women who we shared her story during that presentation, and people gave, and we were able to meet that need for Christina. It was just a small part of what she was needing, but it did buy her a little more time where she was at because she
Yeah,
was facing eviction at the time. So that's how I met Christina, and then I believe I introduced you to, right, for the
yeah,
documentary.
yeah,
Yeah, and then we yeah. So
yeah. No,
Christina
that's
and I
amazing.
have stayed in touch. I love her so much, and I was so proud of her. In that documentary, she was so honest and vulnerable, and I give her a lot of credit. She's a very strong woman. She definitely is. Yeah, yeah,
It's amazing that how open she was, because
yeah,
listen, no matter what your situation is, we've all suffered into, they say
yeah,
to be human is to suffer, right? I think the
yeah.
Buddha said that or whatever.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, filming her story, it was making this film was rough,
Mhm.
emotionally,
Mhm.
um and and then you fall, for these people, it's like, you want to help them any way you can. You know,
Right.
we were able to get Anna into a new apartment, and
Mhm.
and a whole bunch of other things. And so, but so we're doing this one. This is for the holiday season. This
Yeah.
and So we have a GoFundMe
Yeah.
that I want to talk about, and that will go
Okay.
help all Project Kind and the women that are in our film.
Right.
It'll be in the show notes below, and you can go on GoFundMe Americans and give whatever you can. And we're not taking any, not a dollar. It will just equally distribute to everyone, including Project Kind. You can donate to Jenny directly also, and we talked about that at our website. But at this, the coming out of the, the giving of thanks, right? Thanksgiving. And then we're moving into the giving season.
Yeah.
So we definitely want to make that available for everyone that's watching, that they're able to, that they can help. And the need is great. The need is greater than we can do on our own. It's very hard to make these documentaries. They don't get funded well. For reasons you probably imagine. So together as a community, if you're touched by this film and these stories, if you could give to the GoFundMe or directly to Jenny, and so what do you what are you going to be doing over the next few weeks coming up to the holidays?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm managing the kindness causes, so kind of doing all of my regular things, and my nightly outreach, going to be doing that. I'm also going to be, figuring out something for Christmas Eve. I usually do something on Christmas Eve with the one area I go to regularly, just to kind of help them celebrate Christmas, because they don't really have anybody. So I'll be doing something special with them Christmas Eve. And right now I'm looking, I'm really trying to raise money for a family that's very much in need. So I'm asking for a bigger gift for them. So
how much do you need for them?
10,000.
And how does
And
that-
so this is a mom, a grandmother, actually. Her daughter was incarcerated, and now grandma is taking care of all of the children. And she fell behind on her rent. She's getting evicted. So we need to figure out back rents. And then she did find another place. So first month's rent's free deposit. I just want to kind of get her back on her feet. So she doesn't end up with her, everybody in the shelter or on the street. So we're trying to step in and fill in this gap for her before all that happens, So 10,000 should do it. I think, she said her Christmas wish was a new start. So I'm trying to make her wish come true. And for this situation, it's not blankets, it's not sandwiches, it's money. So that's what we're asking for that family. Yeah.
Yeah, and things like this could change the direction of those children's lives forever.
Every single one of those kids. Yeah, there are 4 children. And it really could be a game changer for them. Definitely. So, we're serving hundreds of people each night, but I always say, like, I everything I do, whether it's a family or that person I'm giving that sandwich to, it's like one journey at a time. It's like meeting people where they are in the moment, no judgment, just loving them, providing for them, giving to them, and then seeing what comes of that. So the family needs 10,000, and my friends tonight need a blanket and a sandwich. So I'm just going day by day.
Yeah, and I've seen you give out the sandwiches and the blankets and the clothes, and especially the warm clothes, the socks, and everyone, everyone, you can just see them brighten up, when they're given this stuff, and they they feel like someone cares about them.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm always amazed at how uh how well them you love them and they love you back. Like it's amazing experience to watch you with all of your friends. It's from the first day. Jake's I shoot one camera, he shoots the other, showed up. We were like, wow, this is amazing. uh,
Well, thank
and
you.
yeah. um Yeah, and this needs to be replicated all over the country. So no matter where you are, you
Hmm.
know, you can give to Project Kind, you can give to, our GoFundMe, but you
The
can also,
GoFundMe.
wherever you are, you don't have to be in this area.
Right.
You know, hook up with an organization, volunteer. It
Yeah.
really is amazing how it makes you feel at the end.
Yeah.
Uh,
And it'll have an impact. No give is too small.
yeah.
So, right.
Yeah, I mean, you make someone feel like they're cared about.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
give them a pair of socks,
Mhm.
toothbrush and toothpaste.
Yep.
Um,
It matters.
yeah, and it could change their lives, but certainly change their day.
It'll change it for sure. It will. Yeah. Even if it just changes that moment, just that
Yeah,
one moment, and when they're laying down at night, and they're on the street or alone or whatever, they're going to reflect on that one moment. Like it's going to stay with them.
yep,
So it
and that's
matters.
yeah, that's amazing. And so, um, um, like, tell us about something that the ordinary person wouldn't know about in your
um,
daily journey.
I mean, if if I think about the people that I've gotten to know or that I sit with, late at night in dark places under bridges or wherever. Um, and, you know, I know what they do during the day. I know what they're doing to get by, to survive. Um, but at the end of the day, no matter where we're from, what we've done, what our situation is, we all just want the same thing. We just we want to be loved, we want to be seen, we want to be heard, but also we want what we have to be valuable to somebody else, which is why even when I'm those people I'm serving, most of them end up serving along with me in one way or the other. And I want people to know that, like, they help me. um they look out for me. They're saying to me, at the end of the night, Jenny, it's getting late. Jenny, make sure you get home. Please roll your windows up. Like, and these could be gang members, drug dealers, like, um, so yeah. I don't know if that answers your question really the right way, but
No, I think that that's a look behind the curtain a bit, and um, yeah, I mean, I'm always amazed at like there's many of them that help you help other people.
they help me. I mean, they will take what I have, like, Jenny, it's late, you know, um, let me take those, over on the other side of the bridge for you. And they'll go deliver them for me. Um, or to, the low income housing, building up the street, or if I'm carrying too much, like, they'll run over and grab some, yeah, we're all helping each other.
Yeah, no, it's
Um,
amazing. And there's a little scene in there where, a bunch of people are asking, um, "Oh, Jenny, can we help you? Can we help you?" And you're like, "Oh, no, no, Snoopy's got it."
Snoopy
So
got
someone's
it.
already helping you, right? So
Yes.
everyone's trying to help you, and
Everyone was
they're not in a great situation themselves, and yet they're helping other people, helping
correct.
you help other people also.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean, there have been times too where maybe we're done, everything's been given out, and somebody comes over and they are like, "Oh, I missed it." And then somebody will turn around and be like, "Here, have mine." Like I'll get something in the morning from the, soup line or whatever. So so when I say I get to witness and be a part of multiple acts of kindness every day, I don't just mean the people who are sending me um, a monetary donation or 1,000 sandwiches to hand out. I'm talking about even the people that I'm serving. I'm seeing acts of kindness there as well. It's just everywhere,
right.
which
And
is
I think
beautiful.
it's yeah, and I think it's infectious.
It is.
So when um, and I really think that if we can rehumanize people,
Yes.
right? And we have as humans, we have this really terrible ability to dehumanize
Hmm.
people. And
Yeah.
if we can rehumanize them, then we're going to say this is not acceptable. It's not acceptable for little children to live on the street or live in the park,
Correct.
right?
Right.
Because, it's not acceptable for people, for 50% of the homeless people to work full time and not be able to afford a place to
Afford
live.
a place to live. But you know
I
what? I
mean,
think once you start to humanize people, what comes with that then is this sense of responsibility to do
yes,
something about it. So you have to be willing to see it and then not expect it to be taken care of somehow, but to figure out, well, what can I do? You know what I'm saying? Like, what can I do? Like, even if it's the smallest thing, what is it? There's something I can be doing. Um, Yeah, because I think
yeah, and
we're responsible for each other.
yeah, in a society, this this myth of the American cowboy, rugged individualism is a myth. You know,
Mhm.
even out west in those times, there was community contribution, connection. People,
Right.
one farmer would help another. You
Yeah.
know, it's always been intertwined. We are intertwined. That's we don't do well on our own. And
Mm-mm.
then, and then once we say, in the richest country in the world, why aren't we helping these
Mhm.
people? And you can fall out of it fast.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, I don't really tell this story very often, but after the crash, the '09 crash, I had three companies. I lost all three companies. I lost my house.
Mhm.
I lost, and I tried to hold on too long. Like I was helping people um that worked for me
Mhm.
when I should have let them go. So I was
Yeah.
taking all the money um and so someone, I was very successful, right? And never in a million years did I think that I could lose it all,
Right.
in under a year.
Yeah.
Um
It
and
happens.
yeah, and then I'm couch surfing. you
Right.
know
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. No, no.
And let me tell you, when that happens to you, it's your mental health suffers. There's no
Mhm.
question about it.
Mhm.
And everyone's susceptible to this.
Correct.
Uh,
Yes.
you know, unless you have a very big rich family, you know, anyone gets sick, cancer, loses their job, you could spiral real easily.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So, it could be any of us.
Mhm.
So, I think we need to rehumanize everyone, and if we could see ourselves and others and them and us,
Yes. Yeah,
uh,
definitely. I
so
agree.
yeah. So what would be your wish for your holiday or Christmas wish?
I mean, my wish is, I'd really like to help this family that I spoke about. I mean, I really, really would love that. And just to be able to, continue to do this. But that does take funding. So my wish for 2024 is that we're able to serve even more people than we ever have before. You know, so my wish is for people to join us in this mission to love others and come together with us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's always a pleasure. It's always
Yeah.
great talking to you, and I'm gonna get out there myself, maybe a couple nights and give you a hand.
Okay, cool.
Uh,
That'd be
yep.
great.
And yeah, and if you have any extra money, Project Kind, or GoFundMe, for the holidays, $5 works,
Hmm.
$10,000 works.
And
And anything in between.
yeah.
You know, and we're all rushing around in the next few weeks, going to parties or this or that or whatever. I think it's good for us to just be still and be quiet and be grateful
Hmm.
and thankful of where we are, and then help others.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much,
Thank you.
and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Okay.